Hi, Jess here, and I wanted to take a few moments to just kind of chat with you today about where hypnotherapy is and where it's going. Over the last few years, we've seen a great deal of change in terms of how hypnotists work with clients, primarily the medium that they use. Traditionally, clients come into the office, have their session, go back to work or go home. But now, thanks to advances in technology, Skype sessions have become incredibly popular, and so have sessions over other video platforms. And I've moved into the world of Skype coaching and Skype Hypnosis. And there are some things that hypnotists don't really talk about when it comes to doing Skype sessions. There are things that nobody talks about. And in particular, there are three really important concepts that are rarely addressed. And I thought I would just kind of talk through those with you now, because you might be interested in working via Skype, or you might already be doing it, and hopefully this will enhance your practice. And let me start by saying hypnosis via Skype or other video platforms absolutely works. I know there's been a lot of debate in the community over the last few years. However, in my experience, it is successful. It's a great way of expanding your reach outside of your local community. Now, with that said, here are the three things that nobody really talks about. The first is the most obvious, and that's sometimes technology just doesn't want to cooperate. You could be in the middle of the most perfect and awesome induction, and all of a sudden, the call drops, or you lose the connection. And for someone new to the Skype coaching world, the response to that might be, oh no, what do I do? What if they don't come out of hypnosis? What if I can't get back a hold of them? The good news is you can sidestep this just by pre-framing it with your clients. Let them know that, hey, technology has its limitations, and if the call should drop, they can come out of the trance or whatever state they're in to reestablish the call, and then they can go back into hypnosis comfortably and deeply. And the nice thing sometimes about a call dropping is it's an opportunity to fractionate the experience. And if you happen to have an experienced hypnotic subject, or if you're working with another colleague, you can point that out to them, and they'll usually just smile and go, yeah. So technology can be finicky. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. The next issue that most hypnotists who do this type of practice don't really talk about is that as successful as hypnosis via Skype is, there are some very real differences in terms of the interaction and the quality of the interaction that you will have with your client. There is a level of dissociation that occurs, and we know as experienced hypnotists that it's really the connection that you create with your clients that allows the change to naturally occur. When someone's talking to someone else and looking at them on a screen, as in not being present, it triggers a very similar part of the brain as a part of the brain that's involved when working on the computer or watching TV. There is a level of dissociation. Physical presence is very different on a neurological level than a visual presence. The good news is you can overcome this as well. And as hypnotists, that requires us to really amp up our own state. And by amp it up, I don't mean like this big high energy state. I mean the connection that we create with the client. It's really important that we as practitioners hold a space that's as if they are in the room with us. And you allow your unconscious mind to communicate that connection with the client. Now, if you happen to be working with someone who you've seen live, the connection is already there. So the work that you have to do is a little bit less intensive because they will have already had these reference experiences with you, and when they see you, it triggers off all of those good memories of success and transformation. With new clients, however, they're getting to know you. And now that you have a little bit more of a dissociation because you're not in a physical space, it's really useful to hold a strong, positive mental representation of your client succeeding, and also of them feeling that connectedness with you. The last thing that nobody really talks about is the environmental factor. When a client comes into your office, you own the space. You set the rules of the space, you set the direction of the interaction. They don't have any of their familiar triggers in their day-to-day life. They're going to be looking to you for direction. When you work via Skype, you'll be speaking with them either in their home or in their office or somewhere else very familiar to them, which means they're still going to have all of their everyday environmental triggers around them, all of those anchors. If you happen to be doing a session during work hours, they're going to have all of their work anchors on their desk around them. If you're speaking to them when they're at home, remember, that's their space. They're used to being in charge. And this is a really unconscious pattern that emerges. We don't know we do this, but it's wired into us as a species, as animals. We like to control our space, and if it's a familiar space, we set the boundaries. That means when you're doing Skype coaching or Skype hypnosis with a client, we have to be aware of this, that even though we're setting the direction of the interaction, everyday anchors are still present for that client, and they are used to taking control of the interaction in that space. So we have to work a little bit harder to establish the boundaries of the session, and we can do it in a way that's friendly, and we do it through rapport. However, it's really good to be mindful of this because when things don't necessarily go as smoothly as we'd like it to on Skype, these can be the areas that are figuring into it. First is the boundaries and the anchors, and the other issue is the connection. So I invite you to keep these in mind and play with and experiment ways that you can overcome these or sidestep these issues and find other solutions. In fact, just having an awareness of it, I've found, has helped to transform my own Skype hypnosis practice. So I hope this was useful for you today. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me. And I look forward to seeing you either at a live training or on one of our online events or at some conference coming up, either iAct or HypnoThoughts. So thanks so much and see you soon.